You are looking live at the daily chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the one index I don't really particularly pay attention to much, but we're seeing a rotation out of the growth names and the tech names and the hardware names into industrials. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 260 points, or 0.2%, close at 39,411. It's making another run at that 40,000 level that it hit and then got rejected. You know, the large numbers. There it was on May 16th, it hit 40,000, again on the 17th, again on the 20th, and that was the last time. Sold off below the 50 and now has rallied back through all of its moving averages and is definitely on an uptrend and showing strength. So the Dow Jones, seeing that rotation. In order to have a sustainable long-term bull market, you need all areas to participate, not just one area of technology or AI or data centers. So we're seeing that, and this is healthy longer term. If you are in the AI and growth names and technology, you probably want to be a little cautious. My word for this week is cautious, because that's the area that I'm mostly in, the growth names. So I'm not really into the names on the Dow. And I want to take a look at some of these stocks that are helping the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You can see the volume coming in heavy for the Dow. That was the options expiration last Friday. So when I think of the Dow, I think of, some of these old names that have been there forever, like Coca-Cola. Doesn't look too bad on the chart here. It just pulls back to the 50 and gets support, pulls back to the 50. Now trading higher, is up nearly 2% today, and that's a big boon to the the Dow Jones Industrial Average. A couple other names, that are higher price names, like Goldman Sachs. Price weighted index is really helping here, as it was up 2.65%. You can see Goldman's been on a run. If I just go to the weekly chart, it's been consolidating in a base and then went on this big run, and now it's consolidating again, pulled back to a moving average. Let's take a look at that on the daily right here, and now has bounced, and now it's above all of its moving averages. So definitely one of the stronger names in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. One of the drug stocks, was a couple drug stocks that I kind of like in the Dow, and one is AMZN, $318 stock. Had a $10 move today, 3.24%. So that's definitely helping that index. And you can see it's set up here with this cup with handle, with the pullback, and now it's above all of its moving averages. 322.60 is the paint by numbers buy point. Yeah, it looks pretty good. If these are larger and slower moving names. This is not the NVDA or SMCI. Another one is Merck. Another one, I believe I put this one on a ready list today. I was going to put in Carvana and I didn't, because I'm just cautious this week. My word for the week is caution. So I think I did put Merck on here at 131.20. And it's up 1.7% today, a couple of bucks. So Merck at $132, definitely moving that index as well. The price weighted index. Another one is IBM, just kind of the old, these old stodgy names in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. IBM been there forever, but you can see it set up in a base and sold off below its 50. And now it's trading above its downtrending 50. So trying to start a new uptrend here. Is IBM up, 1.5% today. I'm just acknowledging the strength. Okay, I'm not saying these are buys or anything. I'm just acknowledging strength, and this is why the Dow Jones is moving higher. Walmart, another new high today. I mean, this thing looks like a growth stock after this breakout here on May 16th. Pulls back to the 10, finding support there. So Walmart is doing it. It's only they had the stock split, so it's $68. Anyway, just acknowledging strength here. And I'm going to start off with the positive, because I want to get to the negatives. And there are plenty of negatives, not just the technology stocks in the AI group that are selling off. These crypto names are really getting pounded here. The digital currency markets have been slumping here in the last few weeks. Bitcoin has really sold off. And these stocks that are, related to the Bitcoin trade are really taking it hard here. This is MicroStrategy, which is up a lot this year. I mean, if you look at January, it's $700 now. It's at 13. It's a two bagger, but still sold off 7.5% today. And it was set up in that base there, but that's a pretty sharp sell off below the 50. So not looking good for MicroStrategy. Another one that's in this group, the brokerage, the digital currency brokerage house Coinbase, another $6% sell off today with volume. This does not look good. You can see the RS line just diving here below the moving averages. So I don't know, the digital currency market, which is a proxy for risk, and maybe maybe the risk trade is off for a little while now, because these do not look good at all. Just piercing their moving averages. Now Hood looks a little better. It's trying to hold its 21 here. It's 1% below the 21, but still, made that high on June 12th, and now it's quite a bit percentage wise, 12% off that high. So Robinhood not looking good either. And of course, the miners are doing poorly. This is Mara down 2% today. And then one that I was looking at was CLSK, and this one's diving here, 4.5%, diving below its 50. So the cryptocurrency trade is definitely taking us down the negative road. I want to get to some other, just acknowledging here, just observing some of the rotation where some of the money's being sold, and then they're moving the money into these industrials and defensive plays. And obviously SMCI, which has had a big run from the 671, it's this stock for the year is up still 150%. But today sold off 8.5%, $78 move to the downside. It did hit over 1,000 last week and then reversed lower. We see a lot of growth stocks that did that, showed strength on Thursday, then reversed lower, and then lower on Friday, and then, accelerated the sell-off today. DELL was another one that sold off following earnings, sold off to the 50, found support there, rallied back up to 161 on Thursday, reversed lower, followed through to the downside on Friday, and now slicing moving averages today. It's 2.2% below the 21. So I'm likely to come back to the 50 here, and we'll see where it goes from there, if it can find support. Vertiv, VRT is another one that sold off a little earlier, but definitely had that reversal on Thursday, and it's below the 50 now. This one really needs to base. It hasn't based for a long time. But anyway, I just had to show some of the weakness here in the market. Okay, so now I got to go back to not only some of the Dow Jones names, but just observing where some of the strength is. Money flowing into oil names like Chevron, which traded up to its 50 SMA today. So Chevron getting some love. Exxon a little stronger move today, nearly 3% for Exxon, and then ConocoPhillips bouncing. This is bottom fishing here, but they're taking money out of growth names where they have a lot of profit and moving them into beaten up defensive names. It's a pretty simple concept. This is the last week of the quarter. You're going to see some index rebalancing. You're going to see some window dressing. You're going to see some crazy moves, and that's why I say to be cautious this week, especially if you're in these growth names that have had a lot of profits. This is JP Morgan. I had this on our ready list, and it just was stalling at 200. And I get impatient. I know I'm impatient. It just traded below its 50. Now it's above it, and right back there to that 200 level. The Livermore psychological round number of 200. It's got to get through there. But we're seeing a lot of stocks that are, finding resistance at those psychological numbers. We see it, over the years, time after time. So that is not uncommon. Goldman Sachs, which I showed you earlier. Dow component showing strength. Wells Fargo. Oh my gosh, when Wells Fargo's well, this is just setting up in a base, trying to get through its 50 here. So it's had a strong move. If you just look to the left, 38 to 62, hello. That's a big move for this company. And now it's just consolidating in the base. It actually looks pretty good. I would like that above it's 50, but it's kind of a slower mover. And then Morgan Stanley, another one that's kind of setting up here. It's set up in this base, pulled back under the 50 and rallied. So it undercut the 50, rallied up to 103, and now is pulled back to the 50 and just finding support there. But yeah, the banks were getting some love today. The energy oil names were getting some love today. I did show you Walmart, some of these defensive names, these defensive retailers like Walmart, like Target. Target's considered kind of a, it's got a big dividend. And just like I say, they're taking money out of, taking profits and rolling them into these beaten down names. Target's been a dividend aristocrat for years and years. So, that's all it is, just a rotation. I think it's healthy. Longer term, short-term pain, sure. If you own NVIDIA and it's down the last 3 days, it stinks, but it's had a hell of a run. Take some profits. You should do the same. Buy something nice for your significant other or for yourself. What the heck? All right, a couple of the airline stocks even doing well. Rolling money into the airline names. This is United Airlines up more than 2% today, and then Alaska. Well, I like flying Alaska. I think Alaska is one of the better airlines. Up 1.5% today. But, just rolling it into certain areas, different areas, out of tech. Royal Caribbean, the cruise liners, looking good here. The consumer is still spending. People are taking trips. I see videos on Twitter all the time of, these cruises look like people are partying, having a good time. So enjoy life, Royal Caribbean style. Another one is CCL, which is a much lower price stock, but I'm still consolidating in the base, up 2% today though. So there's a lot of different sectors. I think all sectors were up today besides the XLC, the technology one. So yeah, healthcare, utilities, just a lot of areas doing well. Which takes me to the my most beloved group, the miners. Southern Copper made this massive run, right? I mean, it went from what 68 to 129, call it 130. Now it's sold off, undercut the 50, but don't give up on it. Now it's looks like it wants to rally back through there, and so all runners need to take a breather and take a break, and that's what Southern Copper's been doing. If you believe copper's going higher, like I do, this stock probably will go higher. Freeport McMoran, up another nearly 2% today. It looks a lot like Southern Copper, where it had this big run and then pulled back below the 50, and now it's trying to rally back through. So keep your eye on those. The rotation is pretty wicked, pretty fast, and like I say, it's just healthier longer term, I believe. So anyway, I'm going to get to an area where I'm a little more familiar with, and this is Eli Lilly, which said over the weekend they had the ADA conference, they had some news, and they said they're going to file a new drug application with the FDA for sleep apnea. So this stock went higher on that news, and also they announced their dividend, which is only $1.30 dividend, which for a $900 stock is not much. Yeah, 0.5% dividend. So, but you get $1.30 if you own this 100 shares of the stock. So anyway, $130, $1.30 for every share. So anyway, Lilly was strong today on that news of the sleep apnea drug and the dividend announcement. And so ResMed is a company that I mentioned in pre-market. They have a drug for sleep apnea. And so when a big gorilla starts entering your arena, you got to be careful. And this one sold off nearly 12%. So the big fish in the pond, they usually eat up the little fish. And this is not too little. It's 26 billion market cap. When you're looking at Lilly, I'm going to say close to 900 billion, 850 billion. Yeah. So when they enter the market, ResMed, I don't know. I mean, probably going to be in trouble because Lilly has the ability and the resources to come to market and manufacture drugs and advertise and, jump through all the hoops that they need to jump through to put this drug on the market. So, yeah, sleep apnea drug, ResMed in a little bit of trouble. I wouldn't want to own a stock that, slices the 50 with volume like that. And you got the big gorilla. It's like BlackBerry when Apple invented the iPhone. BlackBerry went by the wayside pretty quickly. So you don't want to be fighting these big gorillas. They just have a way of just eating up competition. So that's why Lilly was up. That's why ResMed was down. ALNY had an approval today. And man, this is why people are so enamored with biotech stocks. They go up 35% in a day. Yippee, it's party time. So definitely living in the penthouse here with I can't even pronounce his name, but ALNY Pharmaceuticals. I just call it ALNY, American League, New York. All right. Anyway, it's been a pretty solid stock for a long time. This is no fly-by night. You can see the earnings line heading due north. It's been consolidating for a while in this base and now just blasting out of the base. So that's a move not to be ignored. With ALNY. TGTX, this one's starting to show signs here. I was going to put it on my list, but I'm trying to keep conservative this week. I think I only had 10 or 11 stocks on my list. I was going to put Carvana and TGTX, but I decided not to because I want to keep it kind of small. This one broke above a downtrending line though here. And if, anytime it touches 3 times, legitimate line there. So it broke above that line last week. Today followed through 4%. This one has a lot of short sellers in it, which I don't really like to fight short sellers because they know something. But I believe this is the best in show multiple sclerosis drug. They're taking market share. They have way more patients converted than what was expected. They have a VA contract, which is good for what I think $180 million, which is not included in their forecast. I think they forecasted their guidance was 260 million or something. So you add in that 180, you got about a 75% bump. And I believe that 1841 is a legitimate buy point right there as it breaks above that downtrending line. I believe 1902 will be another one. And above 2267, these shorts are going to have to start to cover. So this one can be an explosive moving stock. We've seen it in the past, just makes these very rapid moves to the upside and then to the downside, which we want to avoid. But yeah, it's got 139 million shares in the float, which is not a lot. And I believe like 25 million or so are sold short. So they're going to have to cover out of here. I think they got to buy and cover here soon. I'm going to watch this stock in the next few weeks here. It has the ability to really explode. And then I have to talk about NVO because they over the weekend they had their Frontier 2 trial, phase 3 trial for God, I'm forgetting now, hemophilia. It's very, very strong data for hemophiliacs, which I don't know. Novo's known for obesity and weight loss, but they are in other areas and they're trying to get in there. They are into cardiovascular and expanding their footprint in cardiovascular and now expanding their footprint in hemophilia. So, that was pretty good data. It was kind of ignored because this phase 3 trial, when I look at trials, I look at what phase it is, 1, 2, or 3. I look at the size, and they with their weight loss drugs, they had size of 17,000 patients. So I believe this size of this was fairly substantial for hemophiliacs. And then I look at the time. And so the time of the trials, not just, a 10-person trial for 6 months. These are long 3-year trials with a big group. So, they're pretty solid in their research and development. Novo Nordisk on the weekly. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Their announcement was a manufacturing facility. They're going to spend $4.1 billion and build a new manufacturing facility in North Carolina. It will be the largest one in that state, and they're going to employ more than 1,000 people, and it probably makes Bernie Sanders' head explode. They're spending that kind of money and employing people, doing good with their profits. But anyway, you can see the 3 weeks tied on the weekly there that I just showed. Sorry for toggling back and forth, but yeah, there's a 3 weeks tied. I expect it to, move out of there eventually. Might take an earnings report, a raised guidance, a upgrade. I don't know, more data. I mean, I think they've pretty much got the obesity market, and they're just expanding into other markets. So Novo looks good. Anyway, I'm going to stop there. That's it for me, except for I have one more thing. I am in the honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have to go to the Nasdaq because I think, we saw something significant with the Nasdaq, which I think is important. So I'm going to spend some time on this. I'd mentioned that, the index had gotten up to 6% above the 50. If I zoom in here, some people think this is hocus pocus, but this is what I use to get aggressive and what I use to get a little cautious. So I'm cautious now. The reason why is that you can see there, SMA 50 in red, 6% above the 50, and then it kept rallying. It got 7%, 8% above, right? And so you think, oh my gosh, it's just going to keep going and melt up in 10 or 12%. No, it's not. It's always going to come back to its moving averages. It's not just going to keep ripping higher and higher. It got a little extended, got a little stretched out, came back on Thursday, and this is the bar that intrigues me because it made a new high on Thursday, then reversed lower, and then closed near the low of the session, followed through on Friday. I know it's options expiration Friday, and it's kind of wonky day, but followed through to the downside on Friday. And then today, look at what we have here. A definite inverted hammer candle. So this is 3 days in a row of pretty heavy selling here. And now the 50 is 5.4%. It's trading 5.4% above the 50, and it's below the 10 now, and only 1.1% above this magenta line here. So maybe it has a date here. To me, this is healthy. I let it cool off. Like I say, every runner needs a breather, and this one just got a little extended, a little heated. This rally is a little long in the tooth. I don't know if we're going to see something like this, like before. I don't know. Just take it one day at a time. This week is like I say, index rebalancing, end of the quarter window dressing. We've got the PCE data for the Fed's favorite barometer for inflation on Friday. All this noise you have, but I just take it one day at a time. I look at the bars, and it looks to me like it wants to go lower. That would be my expectations tomorrow. Now, certainly it could just open up and gap higher tomorrow, but if you take a look at these closes here on these last 3 sessions here, was this Thursday, and they're closing lower, Friday closing lower, and today, just accelerating to the downside here. These lower closes, the bulls try to make a run in the middle of the day and then slam down, right? So beware, be careful. And I'm just cautious. My word for the week is caution. I'm not going willy-nilly buying a bunch of stocks. I've trimmed NVIDIA so much that Lilly and Novo are now my 2 largest holdings, with ELF and CrowdStrike. So yeah, but I still am positive on NVIDIA longer term. It's just made this run here. This is the first one I want to talk about because it ran from this area here of 96 to 140, okay? Which is 96, and it broke out the next day, gapped higher and ran to 140. So it's a $44 move, split adjusted, okay? So a 22% give back would be a 50% retracement of this move. And it's already done that. It's closed at 118. So from 140 to 118 is $22, or a 50% retracement. And that coincides with its 21, which was 119 today. And now you can see it's trading just a tick below the 21. So it could certainly, come back. It could come all the way back to the 96 level. And, like we've seen a lot of stocks recently come back to the old pivot point before buyers come in and start buying it. So I would not be jumping in this too quickly, because you can see the sellers are overwhelming the buyers here. No doubt about it. Profit taking. Yeah, I mean, there's just no buyers. There's no bounce. People say, no, it's bouncing off its 21. No, it's not. That's bouncing like an egg thrown on the kitchen floor, just splat. It's not going anywhere. So be careful there. Don't be jumping in and buying a dip, because you got to wait for the bounce, and that's no bounce there. Sorry. I would like NVIDIA to go up like everybody else, but when I see a bounce, I'll let you know that is not a bounce. Apple tried to bounce off the 10 today. It was up pretty strong and then sold off. It was up to 212.70 and then pulled back a little bit. So to me, it's fine at the 10 or even at the 21. If it pulls back to that old buy point, you know, around 200, that's fine. Like I said, it's going to be volatile this week with the index rebalancing. Microsoft is going to have some of this too. You know, and I talk about the window dressing. If you're a portfolio manager, if you don't own NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, I mean, what the heck are you doing? Probably going to get fired. These stocks have been up a lot this year, and they need to have them in their portfolio. And Microsoft just a nothing burger today. I did mention Meta as another one they have to own. This one just having so much trouble at 500. I know people want to buy this, and you're just going to have to be patient. You know, that's all I can tell you. This is where patience is going to pay off. I know it's dancing. It's just teeter-tottering up above 500, below 500, above 500, below 500. But eventually, it's going to break out above that level. I'm just saying this week, the next couple of weeks, probably going to be I just say, and you use caution. You know, you don't have to jump right in. Allow them to prove themselves. That thing has proven nothing. Amazon, I like this setup in the base. Sold off what 1.86% today. Down to its 10, I believe. Yeah. So the closer you get them to the 10 or the 21, these moving averages, the better. Yeah. So those three moving averages are trading pretty tight there. Google, another one that I like. 178.77, you know, it's having trouble at that 180 level. Closed just a tick below it. The last couple sessions, it's been above it, closed below it. Yeah, it looks fine to me. One of these days, it will break above that level. I like it, even above 178.77, if you can get it there. And I think eventually it'll take out the 180 level. All right, so this time that is it for me. I'm not going to do Tesla because I'm not really interested in Tesla. I know people like to bottom fish, but to me, you know, it hasn't proven itself. You know, it had this nice little run from 138 to 198, but you know, it's just kind of pulled back and, you know, flattening out. It just is just forming a base here. Longer term, yeah, I'm sure Tesla would figure it out, but you know, it had a massive run. Massive run. The big winner of 2020, right? You know, had this big consolidation, just ran up for a year and a half. So now it's going to take a little bit of a breather. So anyway, like I said, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Be cautious this week, you know, and provide, you know, be patient. You know, you don't want to, especially with these tech stocks, you know, there's just a rotation going on. It's healthy longer term. So just be cautious and exercise patience. Thank you for watching, and never give up.